The massive holographic projector in the United Nations Assembly Hall flickered to life, casting an eerie blue glow across the faces of world leaders who had gathered for what they thought would be humanity's greatest moment. Dr. Kim Sora adjusted her translator headset, her hands trembling slightly as she reviewed her carefully prepared first contact protocols one final time. Outside the building, millions of people around the world watched their televisions and phones, holding their breath for this historic encounter. The hologram stabilized, revealing 12 distinct alien forms arranged in a semicircle. At the center stood Vextar, a towering insectoid creature whose chitinous exoskeleton gleamed like polished obsidian. His compound eyes reflected the light from dozens of angles, creating a mesmerizing yet unsettling effect. To his left, a crystalline being pulsed with internal light, while a gaseous entity swirled in a containment field on his right. The diversity was breathtaking and terrifying. Dr. Kim stepped forward, her voice steady despite her racing heart. On behalf of humanity and planet Earth, we welcome you to our world. We have dreamed of this moment for centuries, hoping to join the galactic community as friends and equals. The translation took several seconds to process through their advanced systems. When Vextar finally responded, his mandibles clicked rhythmically, creating an almost musical sound that the translator converted into cold, mechanical words. Dr. Kim Sora of the species designated as humans, we are the Zephyrian Confederation. We have observed your kind through intercepted radio transmissions from your broadcasting stations in Seoul and other major cities. After extensive analysis of your historical data, social patterns and technological development, we have reached a unanimous decision. The crystalline being's light pulsed brighter, and additional data streams appeared in the air around the assembly. Holographic displays showed human wars throughout history, environmental destruction, rapid population growth, and technological advancement charts that climbed at alarming rates compared to other species. Your species exhibits dangerous characteristics, continued Vexitar, his translator's tone growing more ominous. In merely 200 years you have progressed from primitive steam engines to nuclear weapons and space travel. This rate of advancement is unprecedented and concerning. Your history shows constant warfare, territorial expansion, and resource depletion. Dr. Kim felt her stomach drop, but she maintained her diplomatic composure. Honorable representatives, yes, humanity has faced challenges, but we have also shown remarkable capacity for growth, cooperation, and peaceful resolution. Our United Nations, our international space programs, our collaborative scientific efforts, irrelevant, the gaseous entity interrupted, its voice like wind through a canyon. Your kind spreads too quickly across available territory. You fight too often over resources and ideological differences. Most dangerously, you question everything, including authority structures that maintain galactic stability. The assembly hall erupted in confused murmurs. World leaders leaned forward in their seats, struggling to process what they were hearing. Dr. Kim felt the weight of humanity's future pressing down on her shoulders. But surely these characteristics could be valuable to the galactic community, she argued desperately. Our curiosity drives innovation. Our diversity of thought leads to creative solutions. Our determination helps us overcome impossible odds. These traits make you a plague species, Vexitar declared with finality. His compound eyes seemed to focus directly on her, despite the holographic distance between them. We have seen civilizations like yours before. They consume resources rapidly, expand aggressively, and eventually destabilize entire star systems through their unpredictable behavior. A new alien voice joined the conversation, a reptilian creature with scales that shifted color as it spoke. The hegemony wars of the Outer Rim were caused by a species with similar characteristics. Billions died before they were contained. We will not make that mistake again. Dr. Kim's mind raced through every diplomatic strategy she had learned, every negotiation technique, every possible argument that might save her species from whatever fate these beings had planned. Please give us a chance to prove ourselves. Allow us to demonstrate that humanity can be a positive force in the galaxy. We have so much to offer. The decision has been made, Vextar announced, raising one of his forearms. Humanity will Remain contained within your solar system until such time as you evolve beyond your current dangerous tendencies. This may take several thousand years, if it occurs at all. The air around Earth's solar system began to shimmer like heat waves rising from summer pavement. Dr. Kim rushed to the window and watched in horror as a translucent energy barrier materialized in space, extending far beyond the orbit of Pluto. The barrier pulsed with an otherworldly light, beautiful and terrifying in its implications. This containment field will prevent any human vessel from leaving your solar system, the crystalline being explained. It will also prevent outside contact until the Confederation deems you ready for galactic civilization. Dr. Kim pressed her hands against the glass, watching humanity's dreams of exploring the stars crumble before her eyes. 4 billion humans on Earth and the lunar mining colonies were now prisoners in their own cosmic neighborhood, trapped by the very qualities that made them uniquely human. The holographic projections began to fade as the alien council prepared to leave. "Wait!" Dr. Kim called out desperately. "At least tell us what we need to change. Give us criteria, benchmarks, something to work toward." But the aliens were already gone, leaving behind only empty air and the crushing weight of cosmic isolation. Earth had become humanity's beautiful, terrible prison among the stars. Captain Park Ji-hoon floated in zero gravity inside his cramped monitoring station, buried deep within a crater on the moon's dark side. The facility had been secretly constructed during humanity's first year of imprisonment, hidden from the energy barrier's sensors that constantly scanned for escape attempts. Banks of jury-rigged equipment lined the walls, cobbled together from salvaged satellite parts and mining equipment, all focused on one purpose: listening to the galaxy beyond their cosmic cage. For 3 years, Park had intercepted alien communications, learning their languages, mapping their territories, and documenting their advanced technologies that humanity could only dream of possessing. The work was lonely and often depressing, a constant reminder of everything humans had been denied. But today, something was different. The usual chatter of interstellar commerce and diplomatic exchanges had been replaced by urgent, panicked transmissions. The first distress signal came from the Altarian Empire's outer rim colonies. Park's translation software struggled with the once rapid, terrified speech, but the meaning was clear enough. Something was attacking their mining stations in the Kepler sector, something that defied every known law of physics and warfare. Unknown entities consuming all life energy, the message crackled through the speakers. Conventional weapons ineffective, requesting immediate reinforcement from the Third Fleet. Park leaned forward, adjusting the signal clarity. Through his telescope array, he could see distant flashes of light in that sector, explosions and energy discharges that lit up the cosmic darkness like deadly fireworks. But within hours, even those lights began to fade one by one until only empty black space remained. The next transmission came from a Zephyrian reconnaissance vessel, its captain's voice filled with an emotion Park had never heard from the normally composed insectoid species, pure terror. They came from the galactic core, the captain reported, ancient things that have been sleeping for millions of years. The mining operations in the Helios system must have disturbed something deep in the cosmic center. They move through space like living shadows, absorbing everything in their path. Park's hands flew across his control panels, redirecting his most powerful sensors toward the galactic core. What he saw through the enhanced imaging made his blood run cold. Massive shapes moved through the star-dense region, each one the size of a small moon, pulsing with a sickly purple light. They didn't travel in ships. They were the ships, living creatures of pure energy that fed on the life force of entire worlds. The Devourers, as they came to be known, moved with terrifying intelligence. They didn't attack randomly, but seemed to target the most populated systems first, as if drawn to concentrations of living beings like cosmic predators following the scent of prey. Their feeding process was horrifyingly efficient. They would surround a planet with their energy fields, and within hours, all life would be drained away, leaving behind dead rock floating in space. But what made the Devourers truly nightmarish was their ability to adapt. Park watched through intercepted battle recordings as the galaxy's most advanced civilizations threw everything they had at these creatures. The Crystalline Collective, fired their reality-bending weapons that could crack planets in half. But the Devourers simply absorbed the energy and grew larger. The Vextar Empire deployed their quantum disruptors that could erase matter from existence, but the creatures learned to phase shift, becoming incorporeal when the weapons fired. The most devastating footage came from the Battle of Proxima Station, where the entire Zephyrian Third Fleet engaged a single Devourer. Park watched in fascination and horror as 50,000 of the galaxy's most advanced warships surrounded the creature. Their plasma cannons lit up space like an artificial sun, pouring incredible amounts of energy into their target. For a moment, it seemed like the concentrated firepower might work. The Devourer writhed and pulsed, appearing to take damage from the sustained assault. But then something terrible happened. The creature began to glow brighter, feeding on the very energy being used to destroy it. Like a cosmic battery being charged, it absorbed every joule of power from the fleet's weapons. What happened next would haunt Park's dreams for years to come. The Devourer suddenly expanded, releasing all the absorbed energy in a single devastating pulse. The wave of purple light washed over the Zephyrian fleet like a cosmic tsunami. Ships that had survived countless battles across 10,000 years of galactic dominance were reduced to lifeless hulks in seconds. The few vessels that escaped carried tales of watching their crewmates collapse as their life force was drained away through the hull, plating itself. Park's monitoring equipment picked up the final transmission from Admiral Vexcol, the Zephyrian fleet commander, who had personally overseen humanity's imprisonment 3 years earlier. "All ships retreat immediately." The Admiral's voice cracked with desperation. "Conventional warfare is useless against these entities. They turn our greatest strengths against us. May the cosmic forces help us all." Within 6 months, 17 star systems had gone completely silent. Worlds that had hosted billions of beings for thousands of years were now dead rocks orbiting their suns. The mighty civilizations that had dismissed humanity as too dangerous now found themselves fleeing in terror from an enemy they couldn't understand, let alone defeat. Park transmitted his findings back to Earth through encrypted quantum channels, knowing that his species remained trapped behind their energy prison while the galaxy burned. Humanity watched helplessly as their captors faced extinction, unaware that their salvation might come from the very beings they had feared and imprisoned. Dr. Lee Mina rubbed her tired eyes as she stared at the holographic battle simulations floating above her desk in the underground Seoul Research Complex. For 18 months, she had been analyzing every piece of intercepted alien combat data that Captain Park transmitted from his lunar listening post. The patterns were becoming clear, and they painted a disturbing picture of how advanced galactic civilizations approached warfare. The Zephyrian fleet formations were mathematically perfect, each ship positioned according to precise algorithms that maximized firepower while minimizing vulnerability. The crystalline collective's battle tactics followed logical decision trees that could be predicted thousands of moves in advance. Even the most aggressive species, like the warrior clans of the Outer Rim, fought with disciplined strategies based on statistical analysis and optimal resource allocation. "They're all the same," Dr. Lee muttered to herself, manipulating the holographic display to show combat patterns from different species. "Every single one of them fights like a computer program." Her research assistant, Jung Wubin, looked up from his own workstation where he was cataloging human military history. "What do you mean, Doctor?" Dr. Lee pulled up footage from the recent Battle of Proxima Station, where 50,000 Zephyrian ships had attacked a single Devourer with coordinated precision. "Look at this formation. Perfect geometry, optimal firing solutions, logical target prioritization. It's beautiful, but it's completely predictable." She switched to historical footage of human conflicts, the chaotic beach landings of ancient wars, guerrilla fighters using hit-and-run tactics, soldiers making split-second decisions based on instinct rather than calculation. "Now look at how humans fight. We use deception, misdirection, psychological warfare. We retreat when we should, advance, attack when we should defend, and sometimes we do things that make absolutely no logical sense." Jung Wubin frowned as he watched a recording of human special forces using loud music to disorient enemies during a night raid. But surely their advanced technology makes up for any tactical limitations. That's just it, Dr. Lee said excitedly, pulling up another display showing devourer feeding patterns. Their technology is their weakness. Watch how the devourers adapt. They analyze incoming attacks, identify the energy patterns, and then absorb or counter them. They're learning machines, but they're learning from logical, predictable opponents. 3 floors below Dr. Lee's laboratory, Professor Cho Hyun was conducting experiments that would have horrified the galactic community's ethical standards. His bio-neural warfare lab combined Earth's deadliest bacteria with cutting-edge quantum psychology research. The professor had discovered that consciousness itself could be targeted as a battlefield. Kimchi bacteria modified with quantum entanglement properties, Professor Cho explained to his small team, as they observed microscopic organisms through advanced scanners. These little organisms don't just attack biological systems, they create chaos at the neural level. His lead researcher, Dr. Yun Hana, adjusted the scanner settings to show the bacteria's effect on simulated neural networks. The bacteria seems to introduce random noise into organized thought patterns. It's like throwing static into a radio signal. Professor Cho nodded enthusiastically. Exactly. But here's the fascinating part. Human brains are naturally resistant because we're already chaotic. Our thoughts jump randomly. We experience emotions that override logic. We dream in ways that make no sense. Other species have evolved past all that messiness. The professor pulled up brain scans comparing human neural activity to reconstructed alien brain patterns based on intercepted medical data. The human scans looked like lightning storms, full of random electrical activity and unpredictable patterns. The alien scans resembled computer circuits, with organized pathways and efficient processing centers. We retained our beautiful madness, Professor Cho whispered. Every other species cleaned up their thinking, made it logical and efficient. We kept the chaos that drives creativity, intuition, and unpredictable decision-making. The breakthrough came when Dr. Kim Sora received an encrypted quantum transmission in her office at the United Nations building. The message appeared on her screen in broken English, translated through multiple alien languages. Dr. Kim of Earth Humans, this is Kethra of the Scientific Collective. I transmit in secret great danger to my existence. The devourers spread like cosmic fire. 37 systems now silent. All conventional weapons fail because creatures adapt to logical attack patterns. Dr. Kim's hands trembled as she read the desperate message. This was the first direct communication from the high galaxy since their imprisonment 3 years ago. I study devourer behavior through battlefield analysis, the message continued. These entities possess collective consciousness, perfect hive mind that processes information with absolute efficiency. But I discover weakness. They cannot adapt to true randomness, to actions that defy logical prediction. Your species alone retains this capability. The transmission included detailed scans of devourer neural structures, revealing a shocking truth. The creature's hive mind was incredibly sophisticated, but operated on pure logic. They could predict and counter any rational strategy, but genuinely irrational behavior created errors in their processing systems. Dr. Kim immediately called for an emergency meeting with Dr. Lee and Professor Cho. When the 3 scientists gathered in the secure conference room, the implications became clear. The galaxy's greatest civilizations are losing because they fight too intelligently, Dr. Kim explained, sharing Kethra's data. The devourers can predict their every move because logical minds think in similar patterns. Dr. Lee pulled up her analysis of human warfare tactics. But humans don't fight logically. We use psychological tricks, we bluff, we make emotional decisions that override strategic thinking. We fight dirty, Professor Cho leaned forward excitedly. And my bio-neural weapons could disrupt their hive mind by introducing the kind of chaotic noise that human brains handle naturally, but would overwhelm a purely logical consciousness. For the first time since their imprisonment began, the 3 scientists felt something they had almost forgotten: hope. Humanity's greatest perceived weakness, their chaotic and unpredictable nature, might be the galaxy's salvation. The very traits that had made them too dangerous for galactic civilization could now save that civilization from extinction. Outside their meeting room, the energy barrier still shimmered around Earth's solar system, but perhaps not for much longer. The bane. Shimmering energy barrier that had imprisoned humanity for 3 years flickered and died like a candle in the wind. Dr. Kim Sora stood at the observation deck of the International Space Station, watching as massive alien vessels approached Earth, for the second time in human history. But this time, the ships didn't arrive with the confident arrogance of conquerors. They limped through space like wounded animals seeking shelter. Vextar's flagship, once a gleaming symbol of galactic supremacy, now bore scorch marks and hull breaches hastily sealed with emergency patches. The other ships in his delegation showed similar damage: crystalline vessels with cracked surfaces, gaseous beings contained in failing energy fields, and mechanical ships with missing components that sparked and smoked as they struggled to maintain orbit. In the emergency council chambers beneath Geneva's mountains, world leaders gathered once again. But the atmosphere was completely different from their first meeting 3 years ago. Then, humanity had been hopeful supplicants seeking acceptance. Now, they were the galaxy's last desperate hope for survival. Vextar materialized through the holographic projector, his compound eyes dimmed with exhaustion, and his once proud chitinous exoskeleton scarred from recent battles. Around him, the remaining members of the Galactic Council appeared. Only 8 species remained from the original 12. 4 entire civilizations had been completely consumed by the Devourers in the past 6 months. Dr. Kim, Vextar's translator, buzzed with a tone that had never carried before: humility. "We come to you not as judges, but as petitioners." Dr. Kim remained standing, her arms crossed as she studied the broken alien leaders. 3 years ago, you called us a plague species. You imprisoned us like dangerous animals. Now you need our help?" The crystalline being, Luxandra, pulsed with weak light as she spoke. 43 star systems have gone silent. The Devourers consumed the hegemony worlds last week. Our greatest fleets, our most advanced weapons, our reality-bending technologies, all useless against these creatures. Captain Song Doyon, Earth's newly appointed military liaison for extraterrestrial affairs, stepped forward with a tablet displaying human tactical plans. His uniform bore the patches of every major military force on Earth, a symbol of humanity's united front against their former captors. "These are our preliminary battle strategies," Captain Song announced, projecting the plans into the chamber's holographic display. "Asymmetric warfare, psychological operations, biological weapons deployment, and coordinated chaos tactics." The alien leaders recoiled as they reviewed the human battle plans. Vextar's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of deep distress in his species. These methods, they involve deliberate misinformation, attacking non-military targets to create panic, using bacterial weapons against sentient beings. "Barbaric," hissed the reptilian delegate Skarnix, his scales shifting to a disturbed orange color. "Your species suggests breaking every rule of civilized warfare." Captain Song's expression hardened. "Civilized warfare? Your civilized methods got 43 star systems wiped out. The Devourers are predicting your every move because you fight with honor, logic, and predetermined strategies." Dr. Lee Mina joined the presentation, pulling up her analysis of Devourer behavioral patterns. "Look at this footage from the Battle of Rigel Prime. Your ships approached in perfect formation, fired at optimal intervals, and retreated according to established tactical doctrine. The Devourer absorbed every attack and predicted your withdrawal route 3 moves in advance. The holographic display showed the devastating battle where 200 Zephyrian cruisers had been destroyed in under an hour. The Devourer had simply waited at the exact coordinates where the fleet's logical retreat would take them. Now observe this," Dr. Lee continued, showing footage from humanity's war games. "Human forces using deception, false retreats that turn into surprise attacks, soldiers making decisions based on gut instinct rather than battlefield analysis. We fight dirty because clean fighting gets you killed." Professor Cho Hyun presented his bioneural weapons research, causing several alien delegates to recoil in horror. "These bacterial agents target consciousness itself, creating mental chaos that disrupts hive mind coordination. Other species would find this unbearable, but humans have natural resistance due to our chaotic thought patterns. You're asking, just to become monsters, Luxandra pulsed weakly, to abandon everything that separates us from savage beasts. Dr. Kim stepped forward, her voice cutting through the chamber like a blade. You wanted us contained because we're unpredictable, emotional, and chaotic. You called these traits dangerous. Now that unpredictability is literally your only hope for survival. A new alarm chimed through the chamber as Captain Park's voice crackled through the communication system from his lunar monitoring post. Emergency update from the Galactic Core. 3 more core worlds have gone dark in the past hour. The Centauri Federation's home system just sent out a final distress call before communications cut off. The weight of impending extinction settled over the alien delegates like a suffocating blanket. Vextar's proud stance crumbled as he realized his species had perhaps days, not weeks, before the Devourers reached Zephyrian space. What would you need from us? He asked quietly, his translator barely audible. Captain Song consulted his tactical notes. Complete authority over military operations, access to your fastest ships and most advanced weapon systems. Most importantly, mixed species crews willing to follow human commanders into battles that will make no logical sense. We want volunteers, Dr. Kim added firmly. We won't force anyone to fight using methods they find morally objectionable. But those who join us must be prepared to abandon everything they think they know about warfare. The reptilian delegate Skarnik spoke up, his scales now a determined blue. My nephew was on the research station at Kepler-7 when the Devourers arrived. There wasn't even time for a distress call. If your chaotic methods can avenge him, I volunteer my ship and crew. One by one, the desperate alien leaders pledged their remaining forces to humanity's command. Ships that had once enforced their imprisonment would now follow human strategies that violated every principle of galactic civilization. As the alliance formed in those underground chambers, reports continued to arrive of more worlds falling to the cosmic predators. But for the first time since the Devourers had awakened, the galaxy had a plan that these ancient creatures couldn't predict, because it was beautifully, chaotically, impossibly human. The combined fleet, assembled in Earth's orbit, looked like nothing the galaxy had ever seen before. Captain Park Ji-hun stood on the bridge of the human flagship, indomitable spirit, watching as alien vessels of every conceivable design formed chaotic clusters around Earth. Zephyrian cruisers floated next to crystalline ships that pulsed with rainbow light, while gaseous beings in containment vessels mixed with mechanical drones that sparked with nervous energy. All ships, this is Captain Park, he announced over the fleet-wide communication system. Remember, today we don't fight like soldiers, we fight like humans. The first phase of Operation Chaos Storm began with something no galactic military commander had ever ordered before. A full-volume broadcast of Earth's most energetic K-pop music across all frequency bands. The alien crews, initially confused by the pounding beats and synthesized melodies, watched in amazement as their human counterparts began moving to the rhythm even while manning their battle stations. The music serves multiple purposes, Dr. Lee Mina explained from the science vessel Soul Defender. It disrupts the Devourer's ability to predict our timing, and it synchronizes our crews to chaotic patterns rather than logical ones. As the massive fleet approached the galactic core, space itself seemed to darken. The Devourers had consumed so many star systems that entire regions of space were now empty voids, where thriving civilizations once existed. The creatures themselves moved through the darkness, like living purple storms, each one the size of a small moon, feeding on the last remaining pockets of life. Captain Song Doyun led the first wave of attacks from his modified Zephyrian cruiser, its hull now painted with graffiti art that human soldiers had created during the voyage. All units execute Pattern Chaos 7, he commanded, then immediately contradicted himself. Actually, forget that. Everyone just attack whatever looks dangerous and try not to die. The alien crews initially panicked at these seemingly contradictory orders, but the human commanders had trained them well. Instead of following predetermined battle formations, ships broke apart into dozens of smaller groups that moved like schools of fish, sometimes retreating when they should advance, sometimes attacking from impossible angles that made no tactical sense. The Devourers, accustomed to absorbing and countering logical attack patterns, suddenly found themselves facing something they had never encountered before: pure, beautiful chaos. When Zephyrian plasma cannons fired in random bursts instead of calculated volleys, the creatures couldn't predict when or where to deploy their energy absorption fields. When crystalline ships suddenly changed direction mid-flight, based on the whims of their human commanders, the Devourers' targeting systems failed to lock on. But the real breakthrough came when Professor Cho Hyun activated his bio-neural weapons. Modified kimchi bacteria, enhanced with quantum properties and loaded into specially designed torpedoes, spread through space toward the Devourer swarm. The bacteria didn't attack the creatures physically. Instead, they introduced pure chaos into their collective consciousness. "It's working," Dr. Yoon Hana reported from the laboratory ship Busan Pioneer. "The hive mind is experiencing something like mental static. They're having trouble coordinating their movements." The largest Devourer, a massive entity that had consumed 3 entire star systems, began to writhe and pulse erratically. Its perfect purple energy field flickered with random colors as the bacterial chaos disrupted its thought processes. For the first time since awakening, the ancient creature experienced something alien to its nature: confusion. Captain Park seized the moment, ordering the fleet to press their advantage, using humanity's most unpredictable tactic yet. "All ships execute the Gangnam-style maneuver." The alien crews, despite months of training, still looked bewildered as human commanders ordered their vessels to move in patterns inspired by Earth's most famous dance. Ships bobbed and weaved through space in seemingly ridiculous formations, but the effect on the Devourers was devastating. The creatures, unable to process the illogical beauty of human creativity, began to fragment. Dr. Lee watched from her command post as the hive mind started to break apart. Individual Devourers, no longer properly connected to their collective consciousness, began attacking each other in confusion. "Now!" she shouted into her communicator. "Activate the consciousness bomb!" The ultimate weapon wasn't a device of destruction. It was a transmission of pure human experience. Dr. Lee and her team had compressed centuries of human art, music, literature, emotions, and chaotic thought patterns into a single quantum burst. The transmission spread through space like a wave of beautiful madness, carrying with it the essence of what made humanity unique. The effect on the Devourers was immediate and catastrophic. Creatures that had existed as a perfect collective for millions of years suddenly experienced individual consciousness for the first time. They felt confusion, wonder, fear, and creativity all at once. Their hive mind, designed for perfect logical efficiency, couldn't process the random beauty of a child's laughter, the illogical passion of human love, or the creative chaos of jazz improvisation. One by one, the ancient parasites began to tear themselves apart from within. Unable to comprehend individual thought, they fragmented into smaller pieces that flickered and died like extinguished candles. The largest Devourer, overwhelmed by centuries of human dreams and nightmares flooding its consciousness, simply dissolved into harmless energy that dissipated among the stars. The battle was over in 3 hours. An enemy that had consumed 43 star systems and threatened the entire galaxy had been defeated not by superior firepower or advanced technology, but by the chaotic beauty of human creativity. 6 months later, in the rebuilt chambers of the Galactic Council, Chairman Vextar stood before representatives of every surviving species. His voice carried no trace of the arrogance that had once defined his people. "We gather today to formally establish the Galactic Defense Initiative under human leadership," he announced. "For too long, we believed that civilization meant the elimination of chaos, the perfection of logic, and the suppression of unpredictable behavior." Dr. Kim Sora, now wearing the insignia of Supreme Commander of Galactic Defense, listened from her place at the head of the council table. "We feared humanity's chaos," Vextar continued, his translator carrying genuine emotion. We should have celebrated it. Today we recognize that true strength comes not from perfect order, but from the beautiful madness that drives creativity, innovation, and the courage to face the impossible. The galaxy had been saved by embracing everything that made humans wonderfully chaotically human. The end.